All right, Jeep owners, we've all been there. You see that check engine light and your heart just sinks a little. Well, today, we're going to tackle one of the most common codes you might see, P026C. We're going to break it down, nice and simple.
So let's set the scene. Maybe your Jeep's been idling a little rough or it just feels sluggish when you hit the gas. Then, boom, the check engine light comes on. You pull out your scanner, and there it is, P026C, just staring you in the face. Don't sweat it. You're in exactly the right place to figure out what's going on and, more importantly, how to fix it.
So what is your Jeep actually trying to tell you? I mean, these codes can feel like a totally different language. Let's translate this thing and get to the bottom of what's happening under the hood.
Okay, so the official by-the-book definition for P026C is fuel injection quantity lower than expected. Now that might sound super technical, but the wording is actually a really big clue. It's pointing to a very specific kind of imbalance in your engine.
You know, the easiest way to think about it is like this. Your engine is kind of like a chef, and it has a perfect recipe for mixing air and fuel to get everything running just right. Well, this code means the chef, your engine, is noticing that it's not getting enough of one of the most important ingredients. The whole recipe's off. Now, your Jeep has a brain, right? It's called the Powertrain Control Module, or PCM for short. And this job is to watch that air-fuel recipe like a hawk, 24/7. When it sees that the amount of fuel is not what it's supposed to be for a little while, it throws up a red flag, and that's code P026C, basically saying, hey, something's wrong here and it could hurt our performance.
All right, so where do we even begin with this? Well, here's the good news. For Jeeps, this particular code usually comes down to just 4 common issues. We're going to walk through a simple 4-point inspection to track them down.
And this right here, this is our roadmap. It's super clear. On one side, you've got the 4 likely causes, and right next to them, the direct fix for each one. We're talking air filter, air restrictions, air leaks, and last but not least, the fuel supply line.
So that roadmap, let's turn it into an actual checklist. These are the 4 things you can go out and do one by one to diagnose this thing yourself. Let's jump right in.
First up on our list, and honestly, this is the one you should hope for because it's the easiest fix, is a clogged air filter. I mean, think of it as your engine's lungs. And if you're taking your Jeep where it's supposed to go, off-road, those lungs can get filled with dust and gunk way faster than you'd expect.
So why does a dirty filter even matter? Well, it's simple. A dirty, clogged-up filter is literally choking your engine. It can't breathe in enough air. And if it's not getting enough air, that whole air-to-fuel recipe we talked about gets thrown way out of whack, and bam, you get the code.
And the fix? This is the easy part. Just replace that dirty filter. And hey, while you're in there, it's a really good idea to give the whole air intake system a quick wipe down. Make sure everything can breathe easy.
All right, let's move on to number 2 on our list, air restrictions. Now this is a little different from just a dirty filter. We're talking about actual physical blockages here.
I mean, we're talking about anything from leaves and road debris. Heck, I've even heard of a mouse nest in there if the Jeep's been sitting for a while. Literally anything that gets in the way of the air path can cause the exact same problem as a dirty filter.
So the solution here is to just play detective for a little bit, open up the hood, inspect the whole air intake system from the box to the engine, and if you see anything that doesn't belong in there, get it out.
Okay, number 3. This one's a little different. So far we've talked about not enough air getting in. Now we're going to talk about unwanted air getting in through places it shouldn't. We're hunting for air leaks. And listen, this is a huge one, especially for those of us who like to modify our Jeeps. You could have a cracked hose, a loose fitting, but it's super common with things like an aftermarket cold air intake that maybe isn't sealed perfectly. All that extra, unmeasured air sneaks in and totally wrecks that delicate air fuel recipe. So to fix this, you've really got to get in there and look closely. Check every single hose and connection. Wiggle them around, look for cracks, make sure the clamps are tight. If you find a leak, you found your problem.
And that brings us to our final inspection point, number 4. And for this one, we're going to switch gears completely, removing away from the air system and looking at the fuel system, because it's entirely possible the problem isn't with the air at all. It could be a lack of fuel.
Just think back to the name of the code, right? Fuel injection quantity lower than expected. If your fuel line is pinched or clogged up with something, the engine simply can't get the fuel it's asking for. It's literally being starved, and that's a direct cause of this exact error.
So the last thing on your list is to trace that fuel supply line. Look for any obvious kinks, pinches, or anything that looks out of place. If you can clear out a restriction, you'll get the fuel flowing again, and that should make the code go away.
All right, we did it. We went from a totally confusing error code to a clear 4-step action plan. Now, let's talk about how to take this knowledge and turn it into real confidence for the long haul.
So let's just run through that checklist one more time. Really lock it in. Number 1, check that air filter. 2, inspect for any blockages. 3, hunt for air leaks. And 4, examine the fuel supply line. That's it. Those 4 steps are your best defense.
But, if you take away only one thing from all of this, let it be this. Being proactive is everything. The best way to fix this code is to never get it in the first place. Just doing simple things like checking your air filter regularly can save you a whole lot of headaches down the road.
So I want to leave you with a question, a little bit of homework. Knowing everything you know now, what's one simple 5-minute chat from that list you can go out and do on your Jeep this weekend? Go on, get ahead of the game.